How accurate it is when George Bernard Shaw once said, "The greatest challenge in communication is believing it has already happened." Think about that for a second. How often have you assumed your efforts spoke loudly enough, that your silence carried meaning, that your worth was obvious without ever having to say it? We tend to believe the world sees us the way we see ourselves, that hard work is self-evident, that intention doesn't need explanation. But reality isn't that simple. What you don't express often remains completely unknown. This is the story of a man who believed silence meant strength, until he learned the quiet price of being unseen. Michael worked at an international consulting firm in New York. The environment was fast, competitive, and diverse. Different backgrounds, different personalities, but one shared objective: to move up. Michael had a reputation: reliable, consistent, efficient. Managers trusted him to deliver without supervision. His reports were detailed, his thinking was sharp, his execution flawless. He never missed deadlines, never created problems. He simply did the work, and did it well. But Michael wasn't expressive. He didn't interrupt discussions. He didn't chase attention. In meetings, he mostly listened, not because he lacked ideas, but because he believed strong ideas didn't need to fight for space. If it's valuable, he would think, someone will recognize it. So he stayed quiet. While others debated, he observed. While others shared unfinished thoughts with confidence, he refined his in silence. While others built visibility through constant interaction, Michael kept his circle tight and his words minimal. To him, this was professionalism. To everyone else, it looked like absence. Then there was Ryan. Same team, completely different approach. Ryan was energetic, vocal, and impossible to ignore. His work wasn't always perfect. Sometimes he slipped. Sometimes his ideas lacked depth. But he had something powerful. He made himself heard. Every meeting, Ryan contributed. Even when unsure, he spoke anyway. He connected with senior leaders, shared opinions confidently, and wasn't afraid to be wrong in front of others. At first, Michael didn't get it. He would watch Ryan and think, why speak so much when there's so little substance? But Ryan understood something Michael didn't. In a world driven by perception, presence often beats perfection. Months later, an opportunity surfaced. A leadership position. Not just a title. Influence, authority, and the power to shape decisions. For the first time, Michael allowed himself to imagine it. He didn't tell anyone, didn't announce his interest. But deep down, he felt he had earned it. His performance was consistent. His contributions were real. His discipline, undeniable. Surely, he thought, this time it will be recognized. Announcement day came. The team gathered in a glass conference room overlooking the city. There was tension in the air, quiet, but heavy. The director stepped forward. "We've seen incredible effort across the team," she began. "But leadership requires more than execution. It requires visibility, communication, and influence." Michael felt something shift inside him. Then the name was called. Ryan. Applause filled the room. Handshakes, smiles, congratulations. Michael sat still. No reaction, no expression, just silence. And no one noticed, because no one was looking. That evening, the office emptied slowly. City lights flickered outside the windows. Michael remained at his desk, staring at his open laptop, but thinking about something else. For the first time in years, he asked himself a question he had always avoided. Why not me? It wasn't anger. It wasn't envy. It was confusion. Because deep down, he knew he was capable. As he packed his bag, the director passed by and stopped. "Michael, can we talk?" They stepped into a quiet room. She sat across from him. "You're one of the strongest performers here," she said. He looked up, slightly surprised. "Your work is precise. Your thinking is solid, and your reliability is rare." She paused. "But leadership isn't just about what you do," she continued. "It's about what people see and how they connect with you." Michael said nothing. "You don't speak in meetings. You don't share your ideas openly. You don't make your presence known. And because of that, people don't know you." That sentence hit harder than anything else. People don't know you. "I thought my work would be enough," he said quietly. She nodded. "It is, for the people already paying attention. But most people listen before they ever notice." That night, Michael walked through the quiet streets with a different awareness. For years, he had been intentional about what he said. He avoided unnecessary conversations, stayed out of politics, protected himself through silence, and in many ways it worked. But there was something he had ignored. He had been careless about everything he never said. Over the next few weeks, something began to shift. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but deliberately. In meetings, Michael started speaking, just a little at first. It felt uncomfortable, unnatural. His timing wasn't perfect. His confidence wasn't immediate. But he spoke anyway. He shared thoughts, asked questions, offered insight. And gradually, people began to notice. Not because he became louder, but because he became visible. One day during a critical meeting, the team hit a wall. Ideas were scattered, no direction. Silence filled the room. The old Michael would have stayed quiet, but not this time. He took a breath and spoke. His idea was clear, structured, built from months of quiet observation. This time, it didn't disappear. The director leaned in. The team listened. The conversation aligned. Not because he changed who he was, but because he finally allowed himself to be heard. Months later, another opportunity came. This time, things felt different. Not because he expected anything, but because he had already changed what mattered most. He was no longer invisible. When his name was called, it didn't feel like luck. It felt like alignment between who he was and what others could finally recognize. There's something you need to understand. Being selective about who you speak to. That's wisdom. Not everyone deserves your thoughts, your ideas, or your truth. But being silent about everything, that comes at a cost. Because silence doesn't just protect you. Sometimes it hides you. It hides your potential, your voice, your presence. In a world that judges value by what it can see and hear, being unseen is a risk. So speak, not to impress, not to overpower, but to be known. Say what matters. Share what deserves to be heard. Express what only you can bring. Because in the end, it's not just about being capable. It's about being visible when it matters most. And remember, be careful who you speak to, but be even more careful about what you choose to never say. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.